It all started on a regular Tuesday, the kind where you walk into work, sip your coffee, and brace yourself for whatever chaos the day might bring. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. After years of giving my best, putting out fires, fixing other people's mistakes, and working late without ever asking for credit, I was called into a meeting I never saw coming. No heads up, no agenda, just a cold stare from upper management and a few passive-aggressive words. "Your attitude isn't aligning with company culture," they said. "We're moving you to a lesser role, effective immediately." Just like that, demoted. No thank you, no warning. Just a hard slap of corporate politics. At first, I was stunned. Angry, yes, but more than anything, I was confused. How could speaking up, pushing for better systems, and standing up for my team be labeled a bad attitude? It didn't make sense. But instead of breaking down, I took a deep breath and watched. I paid attention to how things were running more accurately, falling apart. Turns out, without someone like me handling the details, the cracks started to show fast. Missed deadlines, confused staff, clients complaining left and right. And while the higher-ups thought they'd shut me down, they'd actually handed me the perfect opening. So I made a plan. I wasn't going to stay quiet. If they wanted to treat me like I didn't matter, fine. But I wasn't going down alone. What they didn't know was I had allies. People who believed in how I worked. People tired of being ignored too. And slowly, behind the scenes, things began to shift. But here's where it gets interesting, because just when they thought they'd gotten rid of the problem, I flipped the script and made them answer to me. The truth is, I never wanted power for the sake of it. I just wanted things to work better for the team, for the clients, for the company as a whole. But the department had become a mess of favoritism, poor decisions, and backroom deals. The people running it were more focused on protecting their positions than solving problems. That's why I spoke up. That's why I pushed back when I saw shortcuts being taken and the workload dumped unfairly on junior staff. I thought being honest would lead to change. Instead, it got me labeled as difficult. So when they moved me to a corner desk, stripped of responsibilities and practically erased from meetings, I watched everything unravel. People who once avoided eye contact started coming to me in secret. They were stressed, overworked, confused about tasks. Files were getting lost. Client presentations were missing key data. But the managers didn't want to hear it. They just kept blaming the team for falling short. That's when I knew I had to think bigger. Quietly, I started building a plan not to get revenge, but to show what real leadership looked like. I pulled in people I trusted, shared tools to help them stay organized, helped them troubleshoot problems the managers kept ignoring. At first, it was small stuff, shared folder here, a clearer workflow there. But the impact was instant. Projects got delivered faster. Mistakes dropped. Clients started giving positive feedback again, but none of the credit went to the department heads. And they knew it. There was tension now, thick and obvious. They could feel control slipping, but they didn't know where it was going. And the more they tried to tighten their grip, the more everything kept slipping through. They didn't realize the very person they pushed out was becoming the one everyone turned to. And I wasn't done yet. The real shift started when upper management launched a performance review. Across all departments. On paper, it was routine. But word spread fast. This was really about damage control. The top brass knew something was off, but didn't know where the leak was. Meanwhile, the department heads were scrambling, trying to cover up their failures with half-baked reports and inflated numbers. I watched them twist every sentence, reframe every missed deadline as a strategic pivot. But those of us actually doing the work knew the truth. The tension was so thick, you could feel it in every meeting. Fake smiles, forced nods, constant side glances. One of the department leads, Rachel, had always made it clear she saw me as a threat. We used to work side by side until she got promoted, partly because of a pitch we both worked on, but she took full credit. Ever since then, she treated me like background noise. Now, with her leadership slipping, she started poking around, asking who was really behind the sudden improvements. She'd linger near desks, pull people aside, try to get them to spill. Some started distancing themselves out of fear, while others quietly slipped me updates. It was like office chess, every move mattered at the same time. A subplot was quietly unfolding with Liam, one of the junior analysts. Smart, underestimated, and often overlooked, he had a gift for spotting errors others missed. We started collaborating. Quietly, he'd bring me intel things like client feedback being edited before reaching upper management, or internal emails conveniently lost. In return, I showed him how to navigate the system, how to lead without drawing too much heat. We both knew we were taking a risk, but we were tired of pretending everything was fine. The power struggle wasn't just about me anymore. It was about the whole team, the ones burned out, silenced, or cast aside. And while I was still officially in a lesser role, behind the scenes, I was building something stronger. But the walls were closing in, and someone had just reported me to HR. The email from HR hit my inbox at 9:12 a.m., short, vague, and cold. "We'd like to speak with you regarding a few concerns brought to our attention." No details, no context. Just enough to let me know someone had made their move. I stared at the screen for a second, heart pounding, trying to guess who it was. Rachel, someone else feeling threatened. Or maybe one of the managers who'd finally connected the dots. Either way, I knew the clock had started ticking. I didn't stop what I was doing. I kept guiding the team, passing tips through chats, reviewing documents before they reached the higher-ups. But the atmosphere had changed. Eyes followed me more closely now. Some people avoided small talk. Others sent cryptic messages of support. The kind you send when you know someone's about to walk into a storm. Then came the budget meeting. I wasn't invited, obviously, but Liam was. He recorded everything. Not video, just clean audio with clear voices. Rachel and two other leads were in full spin mode, blaming delays on team miscommunication. Acting confused about the sudden improvements, like they had no idea who was behind them. At one point, one of them said, "Whatever she's doing behind the scenes, it's unauthorized. She's stepping out of line." That was it. Proof they knew. Proof they were trying to erase what I'd built and flip the narrative. I met with HR the next day. The room felt colder than usual, like the walls themselves were judging me. They asked about unofficial leadership, about disrupting processes, about overstepping boundaries. It wasn't a conversation, it was a setup. But I stayed calm. I had dates, names, results. I'd kept records of every move I made and every request I answered that the managers ignored. Still, as I walked out of that room, I knew this wasn't over. I could feel the storm coming. But they didn't know while they were trying to bury me. I'd already laid the foundation to flip everything. The next morning, something unexpected happened. I walked into the office and noticed a different kind of energy in the air. People were whispering, screens minimized faster than usual, and a few nervous glances were being tossed my way. I didn't know it yet, but while I was defending myself, in that HR meeting, someone had dug deeper too deep. Liam met me by the coffee machine, his face pale. He handed me his phone under the table, like we were passing state secrets. "They're auditing the department," he whispered. "Someone from corporate flew in late last night. Not a video call this time. They're here, in person." That changed everything. A surprise internal audit meant someone higher up had started paying attention, but the twist: they weren't just auditing operations. think they were auditing communications, mails, chat logs, project trails. Everything. Suddenly, every message mattered. Every shared file. Every chat that had felt. Casual wasn't so casual anymore. And the kicker. Rachel had requested admin access to our team's shared folders 2 days ago. She had already gone in and cleaned up several chains trying to erase. Who had really done the work and rewrite the story before the audit team saw it? That's when the real danger hit me. I wasn't just fighting office politics anymore. Was up against people willing to manipulate records, throw others under the bus, and cover their tracks with digital lies. If I didn't act fast, everything I had built could be rewritten. Worse, if they got ahead of me, I'd be framed as the rogue employee who stirred chaos and went behind leadership's back. But I wasn't the only one feeling the heat. A few others started cracking. One quietly forwarded me a deleted chat thread Rachel had wiped. Another confessed they'd been asked to say I'd pressured them into following my workflow. The game had officially turned ruthless. And now, even the truth wasn't safe. I knew I had one shot to stop this from being twisted beyond repair. That night, I stayed late long after the office lights dimmed and the last of the nervous footsteps faded. I went through every folder, every backup, every piece of evidence I'd quietly saved. I wasn't planning to take anyone down. I just needed to show the truth. So I compiled everything: timestamps, emails, client feedback, and yes, even that voice recording from the budget meeting. I organized it into a simple, clear report with one message. This wasn't about a bad attitude, which is about stepping up when leadership stepped out. The next morning, I sent it. Not just to HR, not just to the internal auditor, ICCD, the regional director, the one who had flown in quietly and was still walking the halls trying to figure out where the rot started. It was risky, but I'd already been pushed into a corner. Playing safe wasn't going to protect me anymore. What happened next was chaos, but the kind that finally shook the right walls. Emergency meetings were called. Rachel and 2 other managers were pulled into closed-door sessions, and by noon, their badges stopped working. Just like that. Gone. The department was frozen for review, and to everyone's shock, email announcing interim leadership had my name on it. The room was silent when I walked in for my first official meeting as acting department lead. Even the ones who doubted me didn't say a word. They didn't need to. They saw what happened when someone stood their ground. But the twist: the audit team uncovered something else. Someone above Rachel had signed off on her changes. The corruption ran deeper than anyone thought. So while I had won this round, a bigger storm was still forming. I had the title now, the respect. But I also had a choice to make: stay and fix what was broken, or expose everything and risk it all again.